Abby the witch is awake.
I'm really sorry for what I did.
That's Abby the witch.
I think that's all the time we have for today. Just let me in. See ya!
On Monday Night Raw. We're back live on Monday Night Raw. One-on-one in this match here tonight.
Issue with the shoelace.
Probably with the... Prepared to compete here in WWE, right? And
James dropped.
Former two-time women's champion Naomi. Gonna make Alexa Bliss pay. Are a mess right now. This could be catastrophic to the goddess.
Graves, come on. The key is to stay ready.
To win the Raw Women's Championship. And Bliss looking to superstars from Raw will be joined by 4 superstars from SmackDown. Didn't want to fight tonight. Oh, Naomi talked her into it over the SmackDown Women's Championship.
This matchup, there's some lines that just shouldn't be crossed. When Naomi said,
No question. Did you hear everybody reacting?
Pull up by Naomi.
guys is better than the goddess.
It's hard to argue that point.
Oh my God.
Now,
I love how Alexa Bliss just badmouths her opponent. Cover here by the goddess.
Naomi
For the
kick
win.
out.
Listen, I have it on good authority that if Alexa pulls out a victory right now, Alexa Bliss. And throughout this entire match,
The world of the circus. These people, under the blast of a spotlight, transform themselves. And in short, they become demigods. And once the lights cut, are condemned as parasites. And I am going to introduce you to these worlds of blood and sweat and sequins. Good evening. Well, before I was offered a job as a dancer in a Mexican circus, Don Humberto, who was the boss, he was the impresario, told me about his life, about the hunger and the hardship of his childhood in the circus, in the 1930s. He told me about the time he'd met Elizabeth Taylor and the amazing sexual chemistry that he'd had with her, about how he'd flirted with her right underneath Richard Burton's nose. He told me how the Pope himself had complimented him on his miraculous ability to defy death twice nightly. And then he told me about how recently his niece had been eaten by one of his tigers, and that his brother had lost most of his fingers trying to prise her decapitated head out from the cat's jaws. And then he told me that he was one performer short. And it was then that he asked me that one crucial, life-changing question. And it was whether I still wanted the job. So, I am going to take you to the circus in Mexico. These art forms, these social phenomenons, are as ancient as human civilization itself, because our archives and our museums are bursting with records and reminders of Egyptian acrobats or Mexican aerialists. These people all exist within the same social paradox. These people live in trailers, they live in favelas, they live in slums, but yet, under the blast of a spotlight, they transform themselves. They perform these acts of incredible grace and strength and illusion. And in short, they become demigods. And it is because of this phenomenon that these same people, once the lights cut, are condemned as parasites, prostitutes, and pariahs, because through this act of transformation, they are enacting an insurrectional threat to society. And I know that part of my own interest in these worlds was purely voyeuristic. I wanted to know what the lives of these people were like after the lights cut and after they scrubbed off their painted blushes. And I'm going to introduce you to their lives. But before I do that, I must tell you why I joined the circus in the first place. Because when I was young, I wanted to be a trapeze artist. But when we are little, we are wiser than we will ever be as adults, because we believe that anything is possible.